The Israelites did evil in the eyes of God, so God delivered them into the hands of the Philistines for a long time. Then, one day, an angel appeared at the house of Manoah. Manoah was an Israelite who was childless.
You will bear a son, but you must never cut his hair. This child will grow up to save the Israelites.
Manoah and his wife were overjoyed. After a while, Manoah's wife gave birth to a son. They named the child Samson. Samson grew up to be a very strong man. God was with Samson and he blessed Samson. Samson's hair grew to be very long, and his parents never cut it, just as the angel had told them not to. Samson grew up to become a man of great strength. The Philistines were afraid of Samson and his strength. Samson was so strong that he could tear apart a young lion with his bare hands. He also caught 300 foxes and tied them tail to tail in pairs. He then fastened a torch to every pair of tails, lit the torches, and let the foxes loose in the Philistines' grain fields, burning them to the ground. But the Israelites, afraid that Samson's actions would bring them more grievances from the Philistines, caught him and bound him with 2 new ropes to hand him over to the Philistines. But the power of God came upon Samson, and the ropes soon fell away.
Here is a donkey's jawbone.
Samson grabbed the donkey's jawbone and struck down 1,000 Philistine men. Samson fell in love with a beautiful Philistine woman named Delilah. Delilah loved money. One day, when Samson was asleep, the rulers of the Philistines came to Delilah.
Delilah, find out for us the source of Samson's great strength. If you can find out and tell us how we can finally catch him, we will make you a very wealthy lady.
From that day on, Delilah did all she could to lure Samson into showing her the source of his great strength.
Samson, tell me the secret of your strength. Where does it come from?
But Samson couldn't share his secret with the Philistine woman.
If anyone wants to subdue me, they can tie me with 7 fresh bowstrings that have not been dried. Then I will become as weak as any other man.
After hearing this, Delilah waited until Samson fell asleep before tying him with 7 fresh bowstrings. Then she shouted loudly,
Samson, what are we to do? The Philistine men have come to capture you.
Samson woke up and snapped the bowstrings as easily as a piece of string snaps. After that, Delilah begged Samson every day to let her know his secret.
If anyone ties me securely with new ropes that have never been used, I will become as weak as any other man. If you weave the 7 braids of my head into the fabric on the loom, I will become as weak as any other man.
With only money on her mind, Delilah did everything Samson told her, but Samson did not weaken at all. Realizing Samson had deceived her, Delilah spoke angrily to Samson.
Samson, you are a liar. How can you say you love me but lie to me? Tell me where your strength comes from.
Sick of Delilah's insistent nagging, Samson finally told her his secret.
Delilah, I have been a Nazirite dedicated to God since birth. My strength comes from my hair. If my head were shaved, my strength would leave me.
When Samson fell asleep, Delilah had all of his hair shaved off, and so Samson's strength left him. The Philistines seized Samson, bound him, and threw him in prison. Samson tried to break free, but was too weak. God had already left Samson, leaving Samson with no power or strength. The Philistines gouged out Samson's eyes so that he could not see, and had him grinding grain in prison. But the hair on his head began to grow after it had been shaved. The Philistines who had seized Samson threw a big party to celebrate.
They have finally seized Samson. His eyes have been gouged and he grinds the grain in prison.
What? Is that true? That is wonderful news. Let's celebrate.
The Philistines all gathered at the temple to watch and mock Samson.
Samson, why don't you show us your strength? Entertain us.
The people saw Samson without his eyes and mocked him in delight. Samson spoke to a young boy next to him.
Put me where I can feel the pillars that support the temple.
Samson stood between the pillars that supported the temple. He placed each hand on each pillar and prayed to God.
Please, God, strengthen me once more so that I may get revenge on the Philistines. Let me die with the Philistines.
After praying, he pushed the pillars with all his might.
I will die with the Philistines.
Crash, crash, rumble, crash. In an instant, the temple was destroyed and all the Philistines in it died. The number of people who died with Samson was incomparably greater than the number of people who he had killed when he had been alive. In this way, Samson died with the Philistines.